Yo, what is up guys? Welcome to my new series, Jack and Build. In these videos, I will show you my collection of banknotes from all over the world so we can check out how they look like, and I'll throw in a few fun facts about them too. If you've watched any of my Jack is off to another adventure videos, you'll know that I love to travel. I don't buy many souvenirs for myself, but I do collect banknotes. It started off with me being too lazy to get exchanged back, and next thing you know, boom, got a whole bunch of foreign currency. So, since I started this collection, I might as well go all the way and try to collect all the banknotes from around the world. So, please join me on my journey to collecting money. Alright, for our first ever episode, let's start off with the almighty US dollar. Here's my current collection right now. We got the $1, the 2, the 5, the 10, two different versions of the 20, the 50, and the $100 bill. The materials for all the notes are 1/4 linen and 3/4 cotton. They all come in the same size, so it's harder for blind people to differentiate. As for the design, you'll see two different sets, the 1, the 2, and this $20 bill. Let's call these the old or previous design, and the rest, let's call it the current design. First, let's take a look at the front and go over some of the basics. Every single one of these has this frame on the outside, and a portrait of someone who is very important to US history in the middle, with their names on the bottom. The dollar amount is in every corner, and if you don't like numbers, it's also written in English in two locations, here and here. You also got the Federal Reserve note and the United States of America, so you know it's the almighty US dollar. And you know you can use the almighty US dollar to pay for things in the US because it says right here, this note is legal tender to all debts, public and private. Over here you got the Federal Reserve Bank seal to the left and the green US Treasury seal to the right. Each bill has a unique serial number and is signed by both the Secretary of Treasury and the Treasurer of the United States. As for the design, when you look at the current bills, they have different colors and more variety of artwork, whereas the old design looks pretty similar except for the frame. Now let's look at the back. Once again, we got the frame, and on top you have the United States of America written. The dollar amount and numbers are on the corners once again, except for the $100 bill. Also, you got the amount written in the bottom. Aside from the $1 and $2 bill, every bill features a building, and I'll go over them individually later. Last, every bill has a "In God We Trust" in the back, but we all know money is the real God in a capitalistic society. Alright, let's take a look at the bills individually. First up, we got the $1 bill, featuring good old George Washington, the first ever president of the United States. When you're the first, you win the grand prize of being on the banknote with the lowest value. There's not much to talk about for the front, so let's take a look at the back. The first thing you'll notice is this giant 1 to keep reminding you this is only worth $1. On the left, you got an unfinished pyramid with the Eye of Providence above it, the all-seeing eye of God. If God wanted to see more action, he should have put his eye on the $100 bill instead, but God putting his eye on a $1 bill will give him some pleasant views anyways. On the bottom steps of the pyramid, you'll see Roman numerals, which turns out to be 1776, the year the United States of America was founded. There's also Latin phrases here, Annuit Coptis and Novus Ordo Seclorum, translating to God has approved our undertaking and New Order of the Ages. On the right, you have the Great Seal of the US, featuring the eagle, the national bird. There's another Latin phrase here, E pluribus unum, which translates to out of many, $1. The US first started off as 13 colonies, so the number 13 is very important, and you can see it all over the $1 bill. There are 13 stars, 13 stripes, 13 leaves, 13 arrows, and the pyramid has 13 steps. Voila! The reason why we have a redesign for these bills is to prevent counterfeiting. The $1 bill was never redesigned because when you're putting all that effort into making fake money, you might as well make your efforts worthwhile. So making fake dollar bills is just not worth it. Next, we got the $2 bill featuring Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, who expanded the country with the Louisiana Purchase, with money. Speaking of redesigning, the $2 bill also didn't get a makeover because it's rarely used. A lot of people don't even know it exists, even though it's actually not that rare. Also, when people do come across a $2 bill, they usually keep it because they think it's special. Once again, there's not too much to say about the front, but the back though. This came from a painting done by Trumbull, and what you see here is the Declaration of Independence, slightly modified to fit the bill. You can see Thomas Jefferson, Ben Franklin, and John Hancock. If you're curious about each person featured on this bill, I've provided the Wikipedia page where you can click each face and it will take you to their individual wiki page where you can read more about them. Next up, we got the $5 bill featuring Abraham Lincoln, the 16th president of the United States. He was famous for trying to end slavery with the Emancipation Proclamation, but unfortunately, that was one of the reasons that led to the American Civil War. This is the first bill we're looking at with the redesign, so let's take a look at the front. The first thing you'll notice is the color. Unlike the old design where the background is just one color, this bill has a little bit of purple to it. The current design also has unique artwork in the background, and for the $5 bill, you can see the great seal of the US once again with the eagle, the striped shield, and star framing. You also have these tiny little fives splattered here, and that is the anti-photocopy circle pattern. Another cool feature of the current design bills are tiny details hidden on the notes. The first little detail we're going to look at is on the sides of the bill by the frame. If you look real close at the middle of these circles, you'll see micro prints that reads $5. For the next feature, you'll have to put the bill up against a light source, which will reveal 2 sets of watermarks and the security seal. The watermark on the right side of the bill is a 5, and next to Lincoln's head, you'll see 3 more smaller 5s. The watermark for the $5 bill is the only watermark that isn't a face, in which you'll see later. Alright, now let's look at the back. You have the portrait of Lincoln in the front, so fittingly, you'll have the Lincoln Memorial on the back. And you can actually see Lincoln's statue in the middle right here. If you look closely at the Lincoln Memorial, you'll see the names of some states. Just know that not all the states are here due to not having enough space. The last unique feature I'll go over with the $5 bill is this giant purple 5. None of the other bills have purple numbers. Alright, let's move on to the $10 bill with Alexander Hamilton, who was never a president, but he was the first ever Secretary of Treasury, so that makes him pretty special. Right off the bat, you'll notice this bill is kinda orange, the only one that has this color. For the unique design, we got 2 Statue of Liberty torches, the bigger one and the smaller one, because money gives you liberty. On the right, we got We the People, and yes, we the people need some money. Now let's take a look at this 10 on the bottom right corner. It looks copper, but when you turn it a little bit, it turns green. This feature also applies to the 20, the 50, and the $100 bill as well. So as mentioned before, the current design all have security seals and a watermark. And for the $10 bill, the watermark is Hamilton's face. As for the micro prints, you'll have to look at the sides again. If you look closely with the magnifying glass, you will see the United States of America $10. Now let's look at the back. This right here is the US Treasury, which is fitting because Hamilton was the first ever Secretary of Treasury. Here you can see a statue of him too, so that makes him the only person to appear 3 times on one bill. Next, we got the $20 bill featuring Andrew Jackson, the 7th president, known for a variety of reasons, like being the founder of the Democratic Party, destroying the second bank of the US for good reasons, how he hated paper money, which is funny because now you got a banknote with his face on it. This is the only bill I have in both the old design and the current design. And you know how we're always guilty of comparing ourselves to other people? So let's compare these bills instead. In the front, you got a portrait of Andrew Jackson. It's the same design on both bills, just a little bigger on the new design. There's not too much to talk about for the previous design, so let's just look at the current one. The bill has a blue eagle on the left and a very boring 20 USA, USA 20 on the right. It is kind of yellow in the middle and green on the sides. Right here you got the shiny eagle and the shield, and as mentioned before, the dollar amount that looks copper or green depending on what angle you're looking at. And as usual, we got the security seal that reads US 20 and the watermark, which is Jackson's face. For the micro prints, you'll have to look over here, and if you look closely, it reads the United States of America 20 USA 20 USA. Alright, and now let's look at the back. The top one here is the previous design and the bottom one is the current one. They look like different buildings, but they're both the White House, just different parts. The old one is the southern facade, and the current one here is the northern facade. Before I move on, just remember that the $20 bill is the most commonly counterfeited. So if you have any $20 bills, make sure you go over the little details so you know it's real, or just use your credit card. Moving on to the $50 bill, and we got Ulysses Grant, the 18th president, but most famous for being the general of the Union Army during the American Civil War. To reward him for his war efforts, he gets the American flag design, so you got the blue portion with the stars on the left and the red stripes on the right. He also gets the star. Not sure if that's because he was a general, but then he should have gotten 4 stars because he was a 4-star general, or maybe because the star symbolizes freedom. Actually, it looks like the star on top of a Christmas tree because you know you gotta spend money during Christmas, a capitalist holiday. Alright, and now let's look at the back. This building right here is the US Capitol building where Congress does all their business. So what does the Capitol building have to do with Grant? This is actually a pretty cool Easter egg feature. There's a statue of Grant in front of the Capitol building, and if you stand where the statue is and look back, you get the same view of the Capitol building as the one seen here on the $50 bill. Like the $2 bill, the $50 bill is considered rare since it's not used in public that often, but people generally don't save the $50 bill like they would with the $2 bill because they can use this and buy a lot of stuff with it. Last but not least, we got the $100 bill with Benjamin Franklin, a very important figure in US history who drafted and signed the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. The $100 bill is currently the largest circulated bill in the United States, so people are going to try to counterfeit it, and that's why you have an extra blue security seal right here. Actually looks pretty cool, like a hologram. If you look closely, you'll see 100 on there, but if you turn it, it becomes the Liberty Bell. As for the design, you got the quill pen which was used to write the Declaration of Independence because they didn't have no computers back then. And then you actually have parts of the script here as well. As mentioned before, all the current bills have a shiny item over here, and for this one we've got the Liberty Bell in Philadelphia because the more $100 bills you have, the more liberty you have. And this is the only one I got. And also because the Declaration was signed in Philadelphia, and this looks like an ink bottle for the pen. Also, another one of the many unique features of the $100 bill is, instead of writing out in English 100, like how they have it on every other bill, it is displayed in numbers instead. As usual, we get the security seal that shows USA 100, and the watermark is Benjamin Franklin's face. For the micro prints, I was able to find two on this bill. One set by the pen that reads USA 100, and the second one, and this one was pretty hard to notice, is right here on his right collar, and you will see the United States of America. On the back, this is the Independence Hall in Philadelphia, where the Declaration of Independence came into existence, adding on to the more money, more independence theme. Every other bill has the dollar amount number on each corner except for the $100 bill. It only shows up once on the right hand side, and it really stands out with the gradient gold. Nice color contrast because having $100 is beautiful. And as a bonus, we got the Yang Buck, not just $1,000, but $1,000 a month. Actually, this is not real, I'm just a huge fan of Andrew Yang. So that is all the paper US banknotes I have. I didn't go over all the super details, but I hope you guys learned something new. If you know any fun facts about the US dollar, please share it in the comment section below so we can all learn. Alright, thank you guys for watching, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and see you guys next time.